Hello. So our next problem is showing how to do a division problem with something or two alternate ways than the algorithm. So first I'm going to show the algorithm and then I'll show the alternate ways. So our problem is 289 divided by 8, 289 divided by 9. So normally, or if you're using the algorithm, what you do is have 289 in the little house divided by 9. So you would go and say, okay, how many times is 9 going to 2? Doesn't fit into 2. So you're then going to say how many times does 9 fit into 28, which would be 3 times. And then you have, so 9, and those 3 times would equal 27. So you then subtract, you get 1, you bring down the 9, you have 19 left, and trying to see how many times is 9 fit into 19. That would be 2 times, because 9 times 2 is 18. You subtract that out, you have 1, and we have a remainder of 1. And that is our answer. But there are some other ways to do this. So we're going to start first with the Big 7 method, which is similar looking to the algorithm, but is different. So we'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that right here. So we are going to kind of set it up the same. So we have 289 divided by 9. But we're going to think about this in a different way instead of doing this, which doesn't really make sense. We're going to think about like easy multiples of 9 that we know will fit into 289. So what I would start with is, like, 9 times, 10 times 9 is 90, which is a lot, but it's not like, the full amount. Here we can fit a lot more. So then I was thinking, okay, well, maybe we could do 20 times 9. So we're going to think about this in terms of numbers of groups. So we have, we're going to say we have 20 groups of 9, which also equates to 20 times 9. And 20 times 9 is 180. So then we're going to subtract this from our total, and then we're going to just keep seeing what we have to work with. So when we subtract this, we get 109. So now we're trying to think, okay, how many groups of 9 can fit into 109? And I was thinking I'll go back to my original, which 10 groups of 9 is 90, and that's pretty high for this. So I would say we would do 10 groups, and we're going to label it over here so that we keep track, like this is equal to that, and this is going to be equal to what we put here. So 10 groups of 9 equals 90. And we're going to subtract that out so that we know what we have left. And this is going to leave us with 19. And that's pretty easy because we know that 2 groups of 9 is 18, which gets us pretty dang close. So we're going to say we have 2 groups of 9. And that gives us 18. And here, I'm going to label this too as the Big 7 method. And you'll see why it's called Big 7 in a second. But we have 19 minus 18 equals 1. And 1 is too small for 9 to fit into in this context. So what we're going to do then is we're going to draw like this. We're going to separate this out. So we have this Big 7, which is why it's called the Big 7, but that's just to separate your thinking. So you have the equations over here and then how many groups over here. So then what we're going to do is, because we're trying to find how many times 9 fits into 289, so we're going to add up all of our groups. So we have 20 groups plus 10 groups plus 2 groups. So that gives us 32 groups. And then we have this 1 left over. So we have 32 remainder 1, which is the same answer we got there, which is pretty cool. But this just makes more sense to think about and I'll explain the relation right now too. This makes more sense in the way of you know exactly what you're multiplying by instead of changing up the place value in the numbers over here. So like you can see how this relates, especially like, so with here, you're doing the biggest number that 9 can fit into 28. But what this actually is 200, this represents 280. So we're saying 9 can fit into 280 30 times because this 3 is in the tens place, so that actually represents 30. And then so we're saying like this is like a 270 actually, which if we had done that over here, if we had done 30 groups of 9, we would have 270, we would be subtracting out 270 right here, which is really similar. And you can also see how it relates here with the 2 groups, because this is actually 2 in the ones place. 2 times 9 is 18, which gives us the remainder of 1, which we did the same thing here. We have 2 groups of 9, which gives us 18, and then we have that 1 left over. So you could see pretty easily how those relate. And then, so another method would be, doesn't really have a name, but it would be to kind of go, again, similarly go by easy multiples of 9 so that you can build up to your answer with addition, because addition is a lot of the times easier to think about than, addition and multiplication are easier than division sometimes for students. So what we can do is think about this kind of a similar way. So we have 289 divided by 9. So we're trying to think, we're going to start with like an easy multiple of 9. So I think that would be, what would first come to mind is 10 multiples of 9. So we're going to write out 10 times 9 equals 90. And we know that we still have, we need to know how much we still have left to divide. So what we're going to do as our next step, which I'll do over here, is 289 minus 90, which is going to give us 199. Yeah, is that right? 289 minus 90. Okay, just want to make sure. So, and you can always double check your math by using by writing it out. So we still have 199 left. So we know we can do another 10 groups of 9, and that gives us another 90. So then we're using this number, 199, which is what we have left, and subtracting the groups of 9 we just did again. And that's going to give us 109. Then we can do, we still have enough to do another group of 90. So we can do this again, which is really simple. And then we have this 109 minus 90, which, let's do that, 109 minus 90, 9, gives 19. So we have 19 left. And so we know we can't do another group of 10 because that would be too much to fit into 19. But we know, like from before, we could do 2 groups of 9, which equals 18. So then we have 19 from here minus our 18, which we just got, which equals 1. So we have this 1 left over, which we know 9 can't fit into. So we're going to add up the amount of groups that we have and include our remainders. So we have 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 2, which equals 32 with our remainder of 1 right there. So we have 32 remainder 1, which is the same answer we got for the other ones also. So how this relates to the algorithm, kind of similar to the Big 7, but we're basically making groups of 9 in an easier way than what we're doing up here. So it's going to take a little longer, but essentially it's the same thing. You're making a certain number of groups, so this would be like your number of groups of 9. You're multiplying that, and then you're subtracting it from your total until you get down to a place where you have less than what will fit into a group of 9. So yeah, that's how it relates to the algorithm, and hopefully that makes sense.